Hello everybody, I'm back with another video for you today, and this time round got a very cool and spicy and pretty powerful Henselt deck that has risen in popularity a bit, at least on Pro Ladder in the past couple of days from what I've been seeing. I don't know for sure who actually came up with it, but I've heard it was Gwent, I believe is his name, who kind of pioneered this concept, but I've been having a lot of fun with it and a lot of success. I think it's very powerful. The basic premise of the deck is you're playing around with charges, charge-giving cards. We have Artuza, Adepts, of course, which synergize very, very nicely with Sentry and Spellweavers, which we also are running, and you also have Sentry and Envoys to give charges to certain units, whether that be just damage from pings from Arbalist or Spellweaver, or boosts from Sergeants, from Naneke onto potentially a Tridem Infantry. You can also throw the charges onto Merc de Bracket if you want to go crazy and get extra value, 2 points from each charge that you give. That can be very, very powerful if left kind of unattended by the opponent. And apart from that, we're just playing a lot of engine cards, kind of trying to overwhelm them is typically the way you play Northern Realms, right? Lacerate, since opponents often play around Reinforced Trebuchet anyway. You could cut this if you don't want it, that's just a personal card that I put in myself. But you can often row punish them, even if you don't have Trebuchets, because they play around it and play into front row, so that's pretty nice. Otherwise, the other very cool inclusion is Portal. We do have a Portal, which is pulling out Lyrian Cavalry or a Tridem, all really good targets to get out with that Portal, getting multiple engines onto the board at the same time, which then, of course, synergize with the rest of your cards, can get really, really big value from the Portal, and it allows Northern Realms that thinning that it really lacks. Obviously, you do have to draw this card early on for that to be important, but very nice card as a bit of thinning early on and push power in round 1, round whatever. Red coin, blue coin, or you can save it for later as kind of a quasi-finisher, getting a couple of cavalry out, which maybe get up to 8, 10 strength, whatever. Very, very cool, as you have a ton of orders units in this deck. In fact, pretty much all of them are. It does feel a little bit unrefined, this version I'm running. I don't think this is the exact version that was, made by whoever made this idea of deck. We only have one Revenant, which can be awkward for Henselt. We only have one Tridem, which again can be awkward for Henselt, kind of, but those aren't targets you really want to pull with him anyway, I don't suppose, so not the end of the world. Apart from that, we've got Sheila, very good with the mages, of course, Botchling, Okvist, another dragon, Ike for a bit of tool removal, which I've been finding very good recently. I think most, if not all, decks have a target, save for some of the weaker ones, like maybe Dana or whatever, which don't always play into tool removal, but typically this gets value on Gregoire, at least, in those Ithne or Nilfgaard decks or whatever, and against other stuff it's hitting, big units for Woodland, big units for Skellige. It's just a good all-around card, I think, to put in the current meta in your deck. Queen Adalia is also very nice with all these engines. You can use her on Arbalist or on the Spellweaver, ideally, to get a bunch of mages on the board, and with that Artuza Adept synergy, if it's not answered, you get tons of points from that. And likewise, there are other engines that get a lot of points, such as the Botchling, the Okvist, the Merc de Bracket, etc., if they aren't dealt with. So, kind of flooding the board with engines, using these cool charge-giving cards that we haven't seen too much of, but which actually are pretty damn good. Envoy is kind of a 5 for 5 minimum, and it can be more. You can even play for the boost on the ranged row if you want to get more out of it. Pretty damn good card, actually. And when you combine it with boosts onto Tridem or onto Merc de Bracket, then that's where you get the real juicy value. So very cool deck, and I think it might even be one of the strongest options for Northern Realms. We'll see how the meta continues to shape up, but it's looking like a very good deck. I was able to climb a lot of points today with it. With that being said, let's jump into a game or two and see how it plays. Okay, we're going to be up against King Bran. We'll see what we can do here. Probably going to be a tricky one. Going to have a lot of points we've got to deal with, but we'll see if we can make it work. We do have Portal in the starting hand, which is pretty nice. We can get rid of Cavalry, because that's one of the things we want to pull out with the Portal. The Sergeants are really good if we do get a Tridem and it doesn't get answered, so we can maybe keep these. And the Mage synergy is also pretty cool. It might be the way we choose to win round 1. I also like using these on the Merc de Bracket, which we have. So, could maybe get rid of an Envoy. I don't think we're going to be playing Merc de Bracket this round. And maybe a Spellweaver as well. If we're able to, we'd like to win this round kind of with kind of not amazing cards, kind of our bad cards, if possible. Lyrian Cavalry, we could probably start with. It will most likely die, but whatever. That's a card we don't really want in our deck or hand anyway. And Marauder's going to punish a little bit for not using Tactical Advantage, but I think it's fine. We can now go with that Portal and get a couple of engines on the board, which will hopefully help us out. Could even boost with tactical advantage if we're not afraid of cleaver. I think I'm probably not going to do it. We're just going to boost this guy into big tool removal ranges anyway, so might not be too good. Connection problems for the opponent, seems like. But yeah, I think we'll just keep the tactical advantage for later. They might remove the Tridem. It would be a shame because we have so many boosts in hand, but we'll still get value from these cards even if there's no Tridem on the board, so it's maybe not the end of the world. That is going to be a Brockvar Hunter, which we can remove with Vess if we want. We can also just kind of let it sit there if we're not so inclined. I think we probably should kill it. Otherwise it just gets too much value. It's a good target to remove, and this should give us the power to kind of stay in this round and you know, make sure we win it. Hopefully without committing any good cards as well past this point. Portal is very, very good and probably winning around a lot of the time because the double engine is hard to deal with. If you can Portal and Henselt in the same round, then it's kind of insane because you have so many engines all on the board at the same time. They can't possibly remove 4, you know, within a couple of turns, so that can be very powerful. I really like that Portal works well in this deck, honestly. It's one of the only times I've seen Portal being actually quite worth it. Just because you're lacking thinning so much in Northern Realms to start with. It's a pretty big deal. But okay, we'll see what we can do here. We can't really use the Zeal to great effect here. We can maybe get a bit of value on Sheila, I guess, if we're going to play that, but apart from that, not going to be particularly useful. We can just give it a tactical advantage, though, if we're playing around tool removal, which I guess we should. They don't usually have Geralt. In fact, it might just be safer to put it on the Tridem in case, you know, they have maybe a muzzle or something, but whatever. Putting it on Vess is also fine. We're up quite a few points now, which is obviously nice. If we can get rid of this other Kedwenny Sergeant, those cards are kind of there just to help Tridem get value. And they're not so good in rounds where you don't have a Tridem, so we'll probably play that here as well, and then we can also play R2s at Adept, maybe 1 or 2 here to kind of profit from these boosts plus Tridem. I really love this kind of combination of cards. It's really powerful when it works. I see a lot of kind of free value, I suppose. And they're going to want to keep playing here, so we will as well, I think, with our R2s. R2s can be a bit clunky, especially when you don't have kind of a Merc bracket on the board or this kind of combo going on. So getting rid of them early here is probably worthwhile. And we're just getting resources from them. Yes, we're maybe weaker in a short round, but maybe not. Even depends, you know, how much value we get from our leader, really. Let's go with another R2, why not? Keep profiting from the Trident that we have on the board. And this might be their pass. I mean, they're pretty far behind in points. They need 12, which is obviously quite a lot to get. No, they're going to keep playing, it looks like. So we could just play a Spellweaver. I kind of want to save this for later, though. We could even take a pass ourselves here, although I feel like continuing to play would be nice if we're able to do it. We get another 2 points on the Tridem, we get 6 on Sheila, so at that point we are kind of locked into passing shortly thereafter, so it doesn't feel particularly great, but I'm a bit scared of being bled in round 2, particularly since they haven't played that many good cards here. I think I'm pretty happy playing Merc actually, which sounds a bit weird, but I think it works. And then we can then play Sheila as our last kind of card in this round if they keep pushing. They do need 8 points, and if they're removing the Merc they might not have that. Unless they have a Regis or something, but we'll see. Maybe they even have Curse of Corruption or something along those lines as well, which could be quite scary. Spores as well is a lot of points. But okay, we could even play the Spellweaver, but I guess Sheila's kind of in a way less valuable because we don't really have that many other Henselt targets. I guess we could pull the Arbalest. Maybe that is better than Spellweavers at this point. You know what, that probably is the case, so we'll still play Sheila first because if we're playing the Spellweaver as well, we actually get more value from it. Maybe that's the wrong way to look at it. We could play it now, I suppose. We haven't got the value from the R2s or Adepts on these. So I'm thinking the Spellweaver is going to be kind of bad later anyway, because we don't have many mages left. The Arbalest is probably a better thing to Henselt out, so we'll just, you know, do it on that. And I guess giving the charge to this is the same as giving it to Merc so we'll go for that. And just ping for some nice amount of points, and, you know, this sticking around means we can have another target for those arteries or adepts. It does mean our kind of our Sentry and Envoys aren't going to be so good. There's not really a target for those, but we can go to round 3 now, and that's really good news. We don't get bled, and we don't have to deal with brand shenanigans in round 2. Instead, we just get to go to round 3, use our engine value and whatnot to hopefully win. Let's get rid of the Envoy. I don't think that's particularly great at this point. We could get rid of Revenant as well. That sounds good. Pretty gold hand right now. We basically really need to draw an Arbalist. If we get one of those, we have both a Henselt target and a Dahlia target that are just really good. It's pretty likely we'll get one here. If not, we do have Envoy as a target for Henselt, so very unlikely he'll end up being dead unless we kind of mulligan in a dangerous way or whatever. We'll see if we have what it takes. Definitely if they have some removal and whatnot in round 3, it's a bit scary. They haven't played too many good cards, so a lot of provisions still available for the brand. Coral still alive and ready to do big damage to our board, so at the very least we don't have to play first in the round. That's quite nice news to have. And there's an Arbalist, that's what we're looking for. Lacerate probably isn't too good, but it's probably better than an Envoy, so I'm going to mulligan that. Ike, probably going to be dead here, honestly. I could take the mulligan. It's a little bit risky as we have the Arbalist in the deck, but I think I've got to go for it if we want to have a good chance of winning. The Ike might find value, but it probably just gets removed, and even that's, if they have a big unit, which is pretty unlikely, I guess. On the bright side, we can do triple Arbalist, which is pretty damn powerful with all these other order units that we have. And it's definitely going to demand some response from the opponent. So we'll go with the Adalia first, and then we can play the next one along with the Henselt ability in the same turn. Get all of those lovely extra kind of points. And we're a little bit safe from removal, although Burner's going to see if she can do something about that. Arbalist is going to live here, which is really nice, and then we can play the others and kind of get all the value from them before it's too late. Really, really good card, Queen Adalia, in this deck, I think, when you're doing that kind of engine overload stuff. So we'll hit the Arbalist here first so that we get the extra kind of zeal value here, I suppose you can say, and we can just immediately kill Burner, which is really good. So we're up 7 points on even, not too bad, and 3 engines on the board, which they kind of have to deal with. If they have Gimpy, obviously, that's going to hurt a lot. Definitely, deck is a little bit vulnerable to that, but not many people playing it, I want to say, these days. It's kind of taken a bit of a dip in popularity recently, from what I've seen anyway. And okay, Hjalmar going to come down, which isn't a problem. We've still got a couple of guys around, and hopefully they won't die. We do have botching as well to get value on, and Muzzle is already out, so this is really looking nice. We can just take all these Arbalist points, get that engine value on the botching, and this is where the deck's really shining. You're taking one round with a bunch of engines, and you're taking another round with a bunch of different ones. Curse of Corruption isn't spectacular, although kind of annoying. The fact that they click that means we can get more value on our Arbalist, which is pretty nice. I think we'll go with the Naneke now. Of course, Lacerate will be our last play. We can just start damaging these guys. We might want to boost our guys to protect them, potentially. Coral does come down. Let's hope there's not double special card in hand. That'd be pretty painful. Luckily, dodging our engines with that damage. That's really nice. We'll see if they have all of the special cards here. If they have another one with brand discard, then that could be very painful. We'll see though. If our synthesis and whatnot survives, then that's pretty good news. And Sheila. So we'll probably go with that as a second last play, and then Sheila. That's the next play here. Try to maximize the value from our cards, really. And no special being discarded there, which is nice. We could go and check out what they've discarded, but looks like just some regular kind of crappy cards. Makes sense. So let's go Sheila, and we will... I mean, we can't kill Coral, but we'll boost our guys to kind of a strength where they're likely to live, I suppose. And we'll hit the Coral, I guess. Maybe we should have hit one of these because we can get more Lacerate value otherwise, but whatever. Shouldn't really matter. There's a Harold, though. Maybe it will matter. Who knows? But Dragon, we've got to play it here to get the order value on it. We can probably just fire the Sheila off. We can probably fire the Lyrian Arbalist as well. No point killing Coral at this stage. But we're right. We're ahead by 6 points, which is really nice when we've got 5 extra ones hidden in the synthesis, and Lacerate is a card that we do have as well. Get some value out of maybe here. Maybe not a huge amount, but we should be fine. It looks like we are. So we managed to outpower the Bran, which is pretty damn nice, I gotta say. Don't even need our last card there. Very cool. Definitely have a lot of points if we're not being bled. If we're able to get to that round 3 with our leader, then this deck can really push hard. Let's jump into another game then and see if we can win a second time. And we're going to be up against Ithne as the next opponent. Might be a hard one as they can obviously remove a lot of our stuff, but we'll see what we can make happen. Okay, going to be a pretty weird hand here. We probably want to get rid of Cavalry. Arbalists, I don't really know how to feel about these. I think I'll get rid of one. They're quite a good Henselt target, but I guess we could use them in round 1 as well to push with, potentially. Merc de Brac is also an option with the Envoy and the Adept and whatnot. We'll see here. Kind of missing quite a few good cards. Maybe we use Spellweavers later as our Henselt pull if we're using Arbalists this round. That's probably what we'll do. And really the make or break against Ithne is whether they have all the carryover, all the agitators, the Sursa, all that stuff. If they do, it's really, really hard to win against them, I think, generally. If they don't, then we're probably going to be alright. Most of the time, I think. So I kind of like starting with an Neneke here. It might get moved, it might get dealt with, but one way or another it will get us value. If it's being destroyed, then it will maybe save our other engines, and if not, then, well, you know, it's going to be pretty good for us. With our Tridem in hand, we can synergize that with the Neneke and then give boosts, you know, and whatnot. We could even maybe snipe Milva here if we're lucky. That'd be pretty awesome. Let's go with the Tridem now. If we can save the Arbalist, I'd be pretty happy doing that, for sure. Looks like we kill the Agitator, which isn't necessarily bad. Can deny volunteers a little bit. Ithne is so popular these days, and I mean, it's kind of understandable why. The deck's very, very good. But it's a bit of an annoying one to have to play against, it must be said. Okay, well we are ahead in points, so we can go with the Artusa Adept now and start getting that one rolling. That's something they have to deal with if they don't want us getting value every couple of turns. And we've got the Envoy, we've got the Kedwini Sergeant. This Tridem is going to roll on and keep getting us points, which is really, really good. Ike we'd love to get value from in this round when, you know, tactical advantage is in play, but obviously the Dwarves kind of stop that from happening, unfortunately. Cleaver going to come down, but not executing the Tridem, which is really good for us. We can then go with a Kedwini Sergeant or a Centurion Envoy, but I think the Sergeant's probably fine to play here. Maybe playing on this row is wrong because we give Skirmisher value, but kind of shouldn't matter too much. We're managing to kind of win on even here, which is really awesome. Don't know if that will stay the case. Definitely not removing Tridem is maybe a misstep. They're going to go for that now. We'll see if it's enough for them to kind of claw themselves back into the round. We could play Merc de Brac. It would probably die though. I think playing the Kedwini Revenant is probably a good idea here. We can also just boost it up with our Artusa. And this is a threat enough that they probably have to kill it. And it will tank for our other stuff that we want to, you know, save for later. I want to keep this Arbalist if possible because it's such a good card to play with Henselt and with you know, what's she called? The bloody woman. You know the one that I mean. But okay, we can't actually get immediate Revenant value, which is a bit sad. So I guess we're gonna play, yeah, maybe just the Envoy. Yeah, I guess why not. Not really going to do much, but I think it's fine. This Revenant's just kind of a threat, a lingering threat that we can use maybe in a second or not. Who knows? If they ever play a 5 strength unit or whatever, then we're getting Revenant value. So, okay, doesn't work. We'll play Ike here, I think, because there's a real risk of him being dead later on, but this is a pretty good result. We only got 1 leader charge from him, but we really didn't commit many good cards here. In fact, we pretty much only committed rubbish cards. So we have Portal in the deck, we have Queen of Dahlia, we have all these kind of Arbalists with Henselt, which is really, really nice. We'll get rid of an Arbalist here. Lacerate's not bad, although it's not probably amazing, so I think we'll get rid of that as well. Oh, this hand is so nice. If we're able to draw a Portal and Orkvista Sheila, that would be the dream hand for round 3. And really, I don't see us losing this. There's not been too much carryover played. I guess double Agitator is, you know, pretty strong. Okay, Gabor, I take it back. That is quite a lot of carryover. maybe too much. But we'll see, we'll see. Kind of depends on the draws here, I suppose. If we're getting our good golds, then we should be in a good position. I think I'd rather have the... Yeah, I think I'd rather have the Envoy than the Artusa Adept. Maybe not. They're kind of similar in terms of the value they'll probably get. The Spellweaver's not terrible, and it is another target for our Henselt, which means we can free up a mulligan of Centurion Envoy should we want that. I think we'll take it. So the double Arbalest in hand is a little bit, it's a little bit awkward. It'll be quite slow to play all of those out, but they will net us quite a lot of points, and then we can pull the Spellweavers with our Henselt ability. Kind of not ideal. We don't have any mage synergy going on, really. So maybe that mulligan was incorrect, but would have loved to get kind of a portal or something for the real value in this round. Ithlin's definitely a scary card. Probably start with a Dahlia here, I think. Onto the Arbalest. We obviously can't pull those out, there's no in deck, so we'll have to wait a few turns before we're able to get our Henselt online, and obviously we're going to be losing a bit of value on botchling and whatnot as well in the meantime, which is a bit of a shame. At the same time, every card in our hand is an engine. It is also a card that procs the Arbalest, so in theory, they hopefully won't be able to remove all of the stuff we throw at them, and that'll be really good news. Let's play another Arbalest now. Eating a lock on an Arbalest is really good, obviously. And, you know, these are kind of the chumps. They're the foot soldiers. They're probably going to get dealt with, every single one of them, I suppose, but if it makes way for the botchling and the other big boys to kind of survive, then that's really all that matters, I suppose. We are pretty far behind right now, and there's a bunch of carryover in the hand, so it's not looking too great. But we'll see what we can do. We don't play too tall, so any Sheldon kind of shenanigans aren't going to hurt us that much. But there is kind of double Agitator, Sursa, Ithlin value, all kind of ready to pop off, so that is definitely very scary. There's a Regis. I think we could probably go with the Spellweaver now, although botchling is just more value in terms of getting it down sooner, so you may as well do that. And yeah, unfortunately we don't have any mages. Those Arbalists were really low point players. Would have been better to pull one of those out than the Spellweaver. Get multiple engines on the board at the same time, but unfortunately wasn't to be. Couldn't afford that. Wasn't able to happen. But we can go with the Spellweavers now, pull them out, which is pretty nice. And we have Vest to maybe give Zeal to one of these guys. I don't know if we can afford to play her. If she gets removed, then bad things will happen, basically, but we probably don't even need to shoot with this, honestly. Maybe if they have a Geralt, then it will be a slight mistake, but I mean, it costs only a point. It shouldn't be the end of the world, even if that does happen. And we might want to have the damage to remove Sursa or something. I don't know. At some later stage, who knows. Barnabas is a huge play. We could go with Vess here, but then we're kind of risking not getting these engines off. I think probably Merc de Bracket as a play here is probably fine. We'll shoot some stuff, whatever. And we'll see what we can do. If Ocvis can go off, that would be very, very nice. And if we play around Skirmisher and they end up having one, then that's also good news. A Dahlia being set up. Might be a Gregoire. Should we try to brick that, you know, from the opponent? That might be really good if we are able to. That might be a very good thing to do. I guess let's play Synthesis now. It looks like they don't have enough removal for all our stuff, so that's pretty good news. And I think we can try to block the Gregoire. That might be our way to win this game, honestly. Blocking Gregoire value, so let's do that. And we'll fire off, I guess, just whatever, a couple of these shots. Probably won't be removed anyway, but you know, it's probably okay. We are very far behind, but most of the hand buff has kind of come away now from their hand. I guess there's still more on dwarves or whatever. But if their last cards are kind of Gregoire and a Skirmisher, then maybe we can pull out a win here. I don't want to say for sure, but it might be possible. And there is a Gregoire, so playing around that was probably a good idea. I'm guessing their last card is a Skirmisher, but let's go with Ocvis to be kind of safe here. The Zeal on Vest wouldn't really matter anyway. And I guess we can shoot things, because why not? I think their last card is Skirmisher. It might be a Sheldon, but I'm kind of surprised if that's the case. Ogvis is a ton of points if it does go off. They could also even have the sword. If they have the sword, that'd be very bad. Oh, it is a Sheldon. That is unfortunate. Gonna be way too many points. If Ogvist had gone off, I think we'd be winning if that was a Skirmisher instead. But it's not. They had all the good cards. Interesting that they didn't put all of the buffs on him, though. But I guess, you know, didn't expect it or whatever. We're very far behind, but, you know, with an Ogvist, with a slightly worse hand from them, with a slightly better hand from us, we might have been taking that. If they, though, definitely a hard matchup for this deck. Too much removal kind of to really deal with as expected. But overall, I think it's a pretty good deck. You've got good matchups against monsters, Skellige to an extent. And yeah, any deck that doesn't run too much removal. Definitely a fun and pretty good Northern Realms list. Northern Realms not the best faction, obviously, but do give it a try if you're a fan of Northern Realms. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. As always, do subscribe for more Gwent videos, and I'll see you next time.